being a good financial analyst involves more than just comparing numbers, comparing percentages, and identifying trends. It also involves being able to tell a story and explain how a business got from point A to point B, what changed, and what had the biggest impact. In many financial analyst roles, you'll notice they mention that storytelling ability, being able to explain what happened and why. It's crucial to set you apart from others. In this video, I'll be looking at Netflix's recent financial results and show you how we can visualize the data to make it more useful and how doing that can help tell a story and explain what happened with the business during its most recent quarter. In this example here, I've got Netflix's quarterly results from March 31, 2026, which is its most recent period as of doing this video, and going all the way back to a year ago, to March 31, 2025. And so I want to compare 2025 against 2026 just for this most recent quarter. And to do that, the first thing I'm going to do is create a copy of this sheet just so I don't mess with the original. So I'm going to right click, copy, create a copy, and move it to the beginning. So now what I can do is I can remove these other columns that I don't need. Just right click, delete. So it's a whole lot cleaner now. Another thing that I'm going to do is right now these headers are spread across multiple lines, which isn't ideal. I'm going to use the concat function to put them together. So use the concat and March 31 and then 2025. Copy and paste that formula. And then what I'm going to do is paste as values. So select these, hit Control C, and then Control Shift V to paste as values. So now those formulas are gone, and that allows me to now delete these rows here because I no longer need them because I've already got the dates, so I know what I'm comparing. Now, what I want to do is visualize this data to make it easier to see how the company's net income changed from 2.89 billion to 5.28 billion. Charts are really effective in visualizing your data, but right now I have a lot of gaps in my data set. And what I mean by gaps is here we can see I've got revenue here in column A, but then I got cost of revenue in column B along with these other subcategories. So what I want to do is move those. So I'm just going to drag them across just to make sure everything is aligned. And I'm going to get rid of earnings per share just because I'm only looking at net income here. So a good way to check if there aren't any gaps is if I just press Control and then the down arrow. So it doesn't stop anywhere along the way. It goes straight down. So I know there's no gaps in there. Another thing I'm going to do is get rid of these headers here. I don't need this for my analysis. What I'm also going to do now is I'm going to auto fit these columns. And the reason I'm doing this is to see just how many gaps there are and what I need to delete. So if I just double click with everything selected, Excel's going to auto fit my columns. And now I see that B, C, and D are completely empty. I don't need those columns. So let's delete them. And by doing so, now my data set is nicely connected. It's easy to see if I were to create a chart that Excel is going to be able to automatically detect my region correctly. Here's a helpful tip. If you want to see what your active region is, if I hold Control, Shift, and the number 8, it's going to select my current region. So that's going to be able to tell you if there are any gaps in your data, if you created a chart, if Excel is going to be able to automatically detect that correctly. So in this case, it is selecting the outer ranges of my data correctly. So I know that this is going to work well if I need to create a chart. But before I actually create a chart, what I want to do is calculate the difference from March 31, 2026 to the prior period to see what the change was. And I'm going to enter those values in column D. So for this header, I'm going to type in change, and I'm also going to put B and in parentheses W. So if you work in accounting or finance, you might see this header, and that means the change better or worse. So worse being a negative value. And this is key if we're creating a waterfall chart to show the change from one item to the next, is to see that progression. Now, before I actually fill in these values, I'm going to insert a column here. And this one is basically going to be for my better or worse calculation. So B/W. And what I mean by that is here I'm going to specify the factor that I'm going to multiply it by, because if it's a better change, then it stays positive if it increases. If it's worse, like let's say the costs are going up, that's a bad thing. So if it increased, then I should multiply that by a factor of -1. So I'm going to show you what I mean. So first, what I'm going to do is just calculate the difference. So the current period minus the previous period, simple enough. A simple change calculation here. Copy this down. And so those are my changes. But as we see with revenue, that is an increase. So that is, in this case, I'll just put a positive 1 because I don't want that to change. If revenue increase, obviously that's good. That's better. That would be a B. So that'd be a positive. In this case, cost of revenue also went up. That's worse. So in that case, that'd be -1. So for any sort of cost like this, I'll put a factor of -1. I'm going to incorporate that into my formula. Now for operating income in here, because this is a total, I'm going to put this as 0 because I want to multiply it by 0 because I want this to 0 regardless of what this is, because the goal of setting up this waterfall chart that I'm going to do is to explain the difference, how we got from point A to point B. The operating income, where the goal is to explain how we got to that change in operating income, not to use that as part of our calculation. So this is also a header, and actually I can remove this because this has no data in here for me. Now we've got interest expense. So this one is a little bit set up a bit differently just because it's an expense, but it's a negative value. So when you're doing this type of analysis, it's important to look at the context, right? So we can see it went from 184 million to 262, right? So even though that is already a negative value, so in other words, that would be worse, that is correct. In that case, we don't want to multiply that by -1 because that would turn it positive. So I'm just going to leave it as a 1 in this case to say, okay, for that case, we're going to leave it the same. For interest and other income, now, if it's a negative, which is an expense, as it's indicated here in parentheses, then it would show negative. But because it's positive, it's an income item. So in that case, that's a good thing. It went up. That's a positive. So we leave that. Income before income taxes. So this is a subtotal. So I'm going to set this as 0. And provision for income taxes, this is the income tax expense. This one, again, is showing as a negative, and it went up from 323 million to 1.264. So that's an increase, and that is indeed worse. So I want to leave that the same. So that's going to be a factor of 1. For net income, that is also a total. I'm not going to worry about that. And I'm going to keep that in here because we want to reconcile to this change. So now that I got my ones, -1s, and zeros set up, what I'm going to do is take this difference and multiply it by those factors. So I'm going to put this calculation in parentheses, multiply it by that to get to my better or worse calculation. So I'm going to copy this all the way down to here. So now we can see that the expenses were negative, obviously, because they're worse because they increased our cost. They lowered our profitability. Interest expense also increase, that was worse. Interest and other income went up significantly. That was good. Income taxes went up. That was worse. So anytime you're doing this kind of analysis, it's always useful to just go through these items, especially if you're setting it up for the first time, to make sure that it makes sense, that the logic follows through, because the last thing you want to do is create a chart where the underlying data is just not correct. So what I'm also going to do is now see that this matches up with that net income. So I'm going to calculate the cumulative effect of this, and to calculate cumulative values in a spreadsheet, it's fairly straightforward. I'm just going to use the sum function, reference this first value, and press the colon key, and now it's going to automatically put in that same value, which is actually what I want, because I want to start from E2, and as it drags down, include more cells. But I need this starting E2 value to be the same. So I'm going to freeze that, and so now when I drag this down, we get to this value 2392440, which is exactly this. So that tells me I've explained all the differences along the way. And that's ultimately the goal of these better or worse values, to say, okay, can I explain how we got to this change in net income? And in this case, we are able to explain it because our cumulative totals of this column match up to that change in net income. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is filter out the values that I want, that I'm going to use the populated chart, because I don't want to include these values that have zeros and that are totals. So over here, I'm going to use the filter function in Excel to select which values to pull from. And I'm also going to use the hstack function, which is going to combine multiple arrays. So the first array I'm going to select is in column B, where I've got the revenue items, all my expense and revenue items here. And then the other range is going to be the change, this change field in column E. So I want to make sure the ranges are the same. Close that. And then for the function, for the argument for including the values, I'm going to select the change, better, worse, and select not equal to 0. So I've combined the greater than or less than operators, which is the same thing as saying it's not equal to 0. So it's not greater than 0, it's not less than 0, it's just not 0. And now, so it's going to pick up anything that is in 0. And so it's filtered out those items here. So now I've only got the totals here for the specific items that were not equal to 0. So it's skipped over operating income, it's skipped over income before income taxes, because again, those were 0. So that's the purpose of that operator. And I'm going to put in the same field here. I'm just going to call it change, better, worse, just so I've got a heading, because anytime you're creating a chart in Excel, it's useful to have a heading so it correctly detects your fields. And this is now what I'm going to plot on a chart. So I'm going to insert, open up charts here. And one of the recommended ones right off the bat is the waterfall chart. If you don't see it, if you go to all charts, there's an option here for waterfall. And I'm just going to select this one here. There's only one option right now. I'm going to click OK. And so I've got this waterfall chart. And the benefit of this waterfall chart is it effectively shows you the impact of each item on here. Now, there are a couple of things that I would change about this right away. The first is the color, because we've got blue for an increase, we've got orange for a decrease. So I'm going to select on this increase. I'm going to go to the Home tab, change this so it is a green color. And for the decrease, change this to a red. I don't have a total right now, but I'll show you in a bit how we can add that. So for the title, I'll call this Netflix Q1 2026 analysis. So we've got our header. Another problem here is these fields here are a bit long, so it's hard to read these. And one of the things I would suggest doing in this case is you can shrink the font, but then it might be too hard to read. Instead, I would suggest simplifying some of these names. For example, we've got general and admin. We can just say G&A. S&M for marketing, technology. We don't need technology and development, I would say. Tax. Actually, this is the subtotal. We've got taxes here. Other income, because really that's an income item here. Interest. Right, so now we've simplified it, and now you can see now it's easier now to fit in those fields. So if I were to expand this a little bit, now it neatly fits onto here. Another thing I might want to do is change these values so they're a bit smaller, because they don't need to be that big. There, size 7 works fairly well. So we've got an easier chart to read already. But let's also add that total net income change. So let's say we wanted to utilize this total. So I'm going to move this to the side here so it's easier to see. And so below my fields here, what I'm going to do is link to this value here for net income, and then link to that change, that 2,392,440. So now I've got that in here. Now I'm going to add it to my chart. And if I select my chart, you'll see it automatically highlights the values that I've got. So I don't have to go and right click and modify the chart. Instead, I can just drag and extend those handles. And now the net income shows up on here. The problem though, is it's being treated as an increase, which is not what I want. So I'm going to select this item here. So I'm just going to select it one more time just to make sure I've got that selected. And if I just right click format data point specifically, I can select this option to set it as a total. And when I do that, now it drops it down back to 0. So it's not being treated as an increase anymore. And now what I would suggest doing is getting rid of this legend here, because right now we've got the increases, the decreases, the total. It's kind of self-explanatory what these items are. And now it frees up a bit more space and we can stretch out this chart to fit in everything nicely. So at this point, we've got a finished item where we've got the waterfall chart showing, but there's a couple ways we can still enhance this. Because we're doing an analysis of, let's say, Netflix, what we may want to do is add an image related to Netflix. So if I select just this chart field here, the plot area, if I go to the fill bucket, there's an option here to select a picture or texture fill. If I click on that, I've already uploaded a picture related to Netflix. That's why it's showing on here. But if you didn't have one, you could click on insert and then select a file from your computer, from stock images, online pictures, or you can use icons if you wanted to as well. And that's one way to make it more personalized, more specific to the content your chart relates to. Another thing I would change here are the grid lines, because right now they're white grid lines on a black background, not ideal. So if I select the grid lines here, I can select to have no line, where I can still keep a solid line, but perhaps increase the transparency of it. So it's very high and it's a very subtle line. So you can see it, but it's not really distracting from the overall chart. And because I've got a black background, what I may want to do is consider changing the font color here to white. So I'm going to click on white just to make the font easier to read. And then for this background, I can also set that to black and then change the font here so it's white. And I'll do that for these values as well, making it easier to read. So now if we look at this chart, it's a lot easier to analyze and see what happened with Netflix's earnings this past quarter. So they had a big increase in revenue, about 1.7 billion, but then they had these increases in costs. So we can say by the time we got to other income, the company's bottom line would have been up around 500,000. We can approximate based on where this line is. That's why it's important to potentially keep grid lines as well, so it's easier to approximate. So we would have been up around 500,000 before factoring in for taxes. The big increase by far was this other income. And so that would give us an indication that maybe we need to dig in and see what drove this increase. And the reason for this big increase in other income was that the company was paid a termination fee due to its failed acquisition of Warner Brothers. So Paramount ended up paying that. So that wasn't the entire amount, but that was a big portion of that. So what you may want to consider is, let's say, adding a note here onto the chart. So if I go to insert and select shapes, there's an option here for these different block arrows that you can choose from. So here is a call out, a right arrow. This might be useful because we can point to this specific item and say, okay, this is where we can put our notes. We can say Warner Brothers termination fee. And I'll select this to shrink this down in size so it's a lot easier to read, perhaps a size 7, and stretch this out a little bit more. So it's not taking up too much space, but it's easier to read and give us a bit more context as to the reason behind it. And then you can adjust the shape color if you wanted. So if you want a different background, whatever the case may be, it's a lot easier now to explain what happened for a specific line item. Now, obviously, this can get very crowded if you're adding a lot of these different notes along the way, but that's just some of the ways that you can add a bit more context into your chart and make it a bit more useful. Because ideally, you want a chart to be able to stand on its own without having to explain every single part of it, and that it's going to make it a lot more useful and powerful. Because if you send it to somebody else and it's kind of self-explanatory, anticipating their questions, that makes it a lot more useful and effective, rather than you having to always go and explain every single part of the process and what happened, why. And so hopefully by now you can see why it's really important to use a chart in this type of analysis, because it can help tell that story, right? And explain how a company got from point A to point B, what changed, what were the big factors that impacted its earnings. Obviously, you can just do a simple analysis where you're comparing the different numbers, but visually seeing it helps emphasize it, draws your attention right away. You can see that 2.8 billion, that was the biggest item, and then we have a note explaining it. So it gives us a bit more information as to how the company did during its most recent period. So that's a wrap for this video. If you did like it, please make sure to leave a like and subscribe for more. Thanks for watching.